a few hours, we could be one step closer to ending the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. So 8 Senate Democrats broke away from the rest of the party last night, cutting a deal with Senate Republicans. A final Senate vote could happen today as flight cancellations pile up nationwide and food benefits hang in the balance for millions of Americans. The deal would reopen the government in exchange for a future vote on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. Senate Majority Leader John Thune promised that vote will happen by mid-December. It also reverses federal layoffs made during the shutdown and funds the government through the end of January.
So there's a possibility, a very strong possibility, that the government may reopen. And I guess 8 Democrats, they decided to go away from the majority of the party and decide to reopen the government and strike a deal with the Republicans. The Republicans were staying strong. They're like, listen, we're not going to give subsidies or health care to illegal immigrants, migrants, whatever the case may be. And the Democrats, they're just saying, hey, listen, let's extend the Affordable Care, ACA subsidies, tax credit. But what a lot of people don't understand, that tax credit, that is being paid for by the American people. So the ending could be coming pretty soon.
Breakaway Democratic caucus members defended their vote late last night.
There was no guarantee we would ever get to an ACA solution. Now we've got robust SNAP funding and a guaranteed vote, not a guaranteed outcome, but a guaranteed vote on ACA tax credits.
To put people through the pain that they're now in, and yet not achieve the result that you're going for, which is some deal on the ACA, to me just didn't make sense.
Joining me now in the group chat, Sabrina Rodriguez, national politics reporter at the
And that's pretty smart, because I really don't think the Republicans were going to go for it. They weren't. Listen, they're deporting people through ICE. They're not going to turn around and give subsidies to illegal migrants. And some people may say, oh, they're not allowed to have, health care or whatever the case may be, but it's being done through a loophole called the emergency room. And I guess some sort of SNAP benefits as well. And Republicans weren't having it.
Washington Post, Isaac Dover, CNN senior reporter, and Catherine Lucy, White House correspondent for Bloomberg News. So first, I want to give people a sense of the mix of Democrats who came down for this vote, because most of them, they're retiring or they're for re-election. So politically, the stakes are not high for them. But Isaac, I want to start because the red flag to me was Dick Durbin. He's number 2, Senate Democrat. He's not going to get involved in this unless leadership in general is like, okay, now it's time.
Well, I mean, maybe. He's retiring himself. He's done next year. And he is the number 2, voted for the deal. But Chuck Schumer and Brian Schatz, who is seen as the leader in waiting, voted against it.
But don't they have to? I mean, they're on shaky ground with the progressives in the party.
I mean, they both voted for the deal that was made with Trump in the spring. So it is a little unclear what happened there. I do think what you see here going on is something that has been happening within the Democratic Party for these 9+ months of the Trump presidency, which is that...
See, this is all politics. Probably caused a lot of damage to the country just having a government shut down for so long. And especially with the FAA, airlines, just overall, like it wasn't good for the country. And my thing, even with the tariffs, why are you fighting against the country taking in so much money from other countries that's going to reduce the deficit of our country?
Resolution that the majority leader is going to say, well, Democrats can put together their own bill, and it'll come to the floor here in the Senate for a vote. as everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture.
I mean, I voted no just because I'm so pissed off. I'm just frustrated that you're right, 40 days, and we gave them every chance to negotiate a moderate, doesn't have to put the whole thing back, and they wouldn't do it.
I mean, pissed off, I think, is probably an accurate reflection of where a lot of Democrats, both on the Hill and in the country, are this morning. I think
But is it a meaningless gesture if it ends this thing and people are hurting?
I think that's the calculation that's challenging is, Democrats. But I think, one interesting dynamic to look at was the senators from Virginia who split on this. Obviously, Kaine saying that it was time, they needed to do something. Warner not agreeing to this deal. And that's a state that has been, obviously, like all states, hit by SNAP benefits, but also the impact on federal jobs there, federal
for
workers.
sure.
So this is a tough dynamic for Democrats, but you have a lot of people who felt like we stuck it in here for this many days, trying to get something. You saw the election results last week. And
which it brings me to Republicans, actually, because it could have always ended this way, which is you guys get your vote on this thing, we get our clean CR budget resolution, everyone goes home happy. This is kind of how it's happened in the past. We promise you we'll vote on this thing later, but they took a really long time to make that offer.
I mean, I think it's notable that it's less than a week out from the election where we saw Democrats perform well across the country.
And I said this was all a ploy.
When we saw, the initial
that once the election was over,
too long,
and everyone I know said it, like once the election is over,
and as it started dragging,
it's like a political tool. They're gonna come out, blame Republicans repeatedly why you're not getting your SNAP benefits, and then if they win in certain cities, within a week or two, they were going to be right back negotiating a deal to reopen the government so they could look like the white knight on a white horse and like, hey, we're the ones that did it, without a lot of people having a clue what's really going on. It's all politics.
Conversation about, are both parties kind of waiting to see how things shake out in the election to sort of see who has more momentum on their side?
Yes, that's what exactly happened.
People expected.
And we saw the president for weeks not really say too much about the shutdown, not talk too much or wade too much into what needed to be happening. But last week we did see him talk multiple times about him wanting to see moves on this. Now, for him, it started turning into a conversation about the filibuster and wanting to kill the filibuster.
Which is not in here.
Which is not in there and is not something that Senate Republicans wanted to have to deal with. So I think for them, that also put them in a position to say, what can we do here that moves the president away from the filibuster and gets us to a place that we can live with?
If approved, the deal would extend government funding through January 30th.
So here's their plan: extend government funding through January 30th. Funds for food stamps through fiscal year 26 reverses Trump's federal worker layoffs, which is good. Think anyone who got laid off should be able to go back to work. Does not extend health care subsidies, which is also good. Guarantees future Senate vote on subsidies. Okay, that's good. So they're negotiating. This could have been done from the very beginning, but they chose not to because of all these different elections going around in the country. So, and it's only till January 30th? So there's a possibility that it may be another shutdown. I think they're going to they may do another shutdown. Yeah, I think that's a strong possibility.